Hey gang, Pastor Jerry here. We have just completed our 7th day, I guess 6 full days of studying, and this is definitely not just a tour, it's a study tour. We are going through the Bible at every stop that we make, and you're about to see where we went today. We went all over Jerusalem to Bethlehem. We saw the possible place where Jesus was born. We saw Herodian, where Herod the Great had his palace, his fortress. Where else did we go? We went to the Jewish Holocaust Museum. That was extremely emotional. Just had a great day overall, and so just really have enjoyed this whole trip, and we're looking forward to doing it again. I do know, talk to my wife, we are going to plan a couple of trips next year, 2021. So if you're interested in going to Israel in a group, just you can direct message me or comment if you're on YouTube. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, you can just message me, and I'll keep you in the loop. It'll be we'll do one in the spring of next year and one around December of next year, because even though it was a little chilly, and this rain here that we're getting is highly unusual. I think it broke a 50-year rain average. So this is, but it's normally chilly. And from what I'm hearing from all the guides and from everyone who's been before, summertime is so crowded and overly hot and humid. And so we're going to come in the off season. Anyway, having a great time, and we have today's Friday, so we have Saturday and Sunday, and then we're done. So it went pretty quick. Learned a whole lot. Learned a whole lot about my faith, about history, about people, about politics, about everything. And so it's been really great. So go ahead and watch the upcoming video of today, and hope you watched, and I hope you saw the other ones, and we'll catch you again soon. See you.
Because some groups, Ronnie came with me a few years ago, so he knows, but some groups we do, sometimes we don't. Depends on what you choose on the itinerary. Get closer, the roof is for 100 and we are only 60, so...
We're a big 60.
Only me big.
You're just tall.
Joey, are we all here? Good. Friends, I want to first of all give you a little bit of orientation, okay? That's what the roof, that's a good place to start, or before the movie or after. So again, the Kidron is right here. You can see that. Okay? Where's the Hinnom? How many of you see the Israeli flag down there, building? Below that, there's like a green dome of a mosque, okay? This is where the Hinnom goes to the south, and there's, I don't know if you can see, but there's a valley over there, and then it goes back around the mountain, Mount Zion. But there's another here, the Guy Valley, that is right here, that to make this place look like a saddle of a horse, okay? A long, narrow on the hill. Now why? Because there is a geographic barrier here, there's a geographic barrier over there, and the top of the mountain is where you put protect the city. But I want to take you back to 4,000 years ago, before David decided. And the movie gave you the reference. There was nothing here except few people that were Jebusites, and they used to sacrifice their firstborn over there in the Hinnom Valley. So it was very common to do that at that time. They believed that if you sacrifice your first fruit, you will have prosperity in the future. Even today, it's amazing, but when we have a tree, and I'm planting a tree, on the 4th year, there is a fruit already, but we're not eating the first fruit. We give it to the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Okay? And only later on, we start using. So the same thing, if you give the first fruit to the Lord, also the people at that time, but they thought, oh, first fruit is the first boy. Okay? By the way, ladies, I'm sorry, they took only the boys. Why should I be sorry for that? But at that time, the first boy, the first fruit, was given to the Molech. So think about that Abraham guy. Okay? Who has the Bible for a second to open Genesis 22. Now, remember where we left Abraham last time we saw him? He was in a tent in the desert. Okay, remember that picture? Think about the city Beersheba, Midbar. He's in a tent. Okay? Verse 1.
Verse 1.
Go ahead.
After these things, God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham, and he said, Here I am.
By the way, that's the answer if God called you.
He said, Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love.
Wait a second. He said it 4 times. Take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love. I have only one boy. That's it. 13-year-old kid. His name is Itamar. I mentioned his name. If God tells me, take your son, I mean, there are no other options. Okay? But why to say it 4 times? Maybe to emphasize the sacrifice. Maybe to make sure that you're not making mistakes and take the other boy. Maybe to make it personal. I mean, it's interesting. Okay, go ahead.
And go to the land of Moriah.
Where is that? Here. Moriah. What is that in Hebrew? Yah is Yahweh. Yeah. What is Morah? Fear. Fear from Yahweh. Moriah. Interesting. Go ahead.
And offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which shall tell you.
Not in the valley. In one of the mountains. Is that the highest mountain around? No. Mount of Olives is higher. Mount Zion is higher. The place where I live, Mount Hadar, is a lot higher. Okay? So God is not choosing the most beautiful thing and the highest thing. He chose a place that He wants. Go ahead.
So Abraham rose early in the morning, saddled his donkey, and took 2 of his young men with him, and his son Isaac. And he cut the wood for the burnt offering, and arose and went to the place of which God had told him.
The place.
On the 3rd day,
On the 3rd day.
Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place from afar.
The place.
Then Abraham said to his young men, Stay here with the donkey. I and the boy will go over there and worship and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son. And he took in his hand the fire and the knife. So they went both of them together. And Isaac said to his father Abraham, My father. And he said, Here I am, my son. He said, Behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? Abraham said, God will provide for himself.
God will provide.
Amen.
For himself the lamb for a burnt offering, my son. So they went both of them together. When they came to the place
To the place.
of which God had told him, Abraham built the altar there and laid the wood in order and bound Isaac his son and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Then Abraham reached out his hand and took the knife to slaughter his son. But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. He said, "Do not lay your hand on the boy or do anything to him, for now I know that you fear God."
Fear God. Moriah.
"Seeing you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me." And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him was a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called the name of that place, "The Lord will provide."
The place the Lord will provide. Where is the place? A mountain. Mount Moriah. Over there. Okay? On Sunday morning, we're going to go there. I'll remind you that story. But before there was a city, there was just a valley where they sacrificed their firstborns, and then a place over there. And when David conquered the city, write down for you later on, 1 Samuel chapter 5, he conquered the city right here. But it was known for him, let's take the Ark of the Covenant, the presence of the Lord, and put it in the place of the covenant. The Ark of the Covenant with the place of the covenant. But where the Ark of the Covenant was where we stayed the first night, Kiryat Yarim. Okay? We're not far from where I live. So he took the Ark of the Covenant and put it on the place of the covenant. If this is a city, what do you have on a high mountain at that time? A threshing floor. We already learned that you put a threshing floor on a high place to separate the chaff from the grain. So he bought from Aruna the Jebusite the land. By the way, if you're the king, you can conquer and take it. But we need the receipts that we own that. So he bought the place and he put the Ark of the Covenant here. So story number one is Abram, and story number two is David conquered the city and take it and put the Ark of the Covenant on the top. Later on come the temple and other stories and so on, but I want you to remember that when we say where it all began, it started with nothing. It's not the best place, but God chose the place. Okay? So now we have a Ark of the Covenant, and now we have a city. And if you're the king, and it's good to be the king, where would you build your palace? Up top. So maybe our educated guess of part of our archaeologists, I will walk now right with you.
All right, so these brave souls are going to go into Hezekiah's water tunnel.
And Jerry's coming.
And Jerry is not going.
Jerry!
It is 40 degrees out here.
With the water, it's a crisp 64.
And rain. Ronan and I are the men of God who will stay here and guard the palace. All right, we're heading into the tunnels. It's one entrance, and once you get in, one side goes to the wet tunnel, and the other side goes to the dry tunnel where I'm going.
I've been doing, I was doing the
2,000 years ago and today. All right, well, we're still going in the tunnel. Now, hold up, let me rephrase that. We're going through tunnel-ish.
Well, that's a tunnel.
But we're not going to go on the wet side. We're going to go on the dry side.
The approach tunnel
The approach, there you go, approach tunnel.
to the real tunnel.
I like my tunnels the opposite way. I
So
like my
how
wheels.
high is the wet tunnel about?
Huh?
You like, you have to squat down to get into it?
Oh, they was out there. It was gonna be about right here on me.
So it's thigh high, but how tall is the tunnel?
There's places you'd have to
Is the Canaanite
crunch.
one
Okay.
larger than the?
Don't know.
Oh, you've never been to that one.
I don't know.
Well, if I don't make it to the end, tell them I'm back at the beginning.
Claustrophobic?
I'm in claustrophobic.
Oh, really?
I tried to catch Rich before, but he must have been on the phone.
Well, you make your way back up to the ticket office, we can find you pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'll
Yeah.
talk you through it.
Yeah.
We can hold hands.
Mind over matter, right?
Well, did you see an exit once you went through the turnstile?
So once again,
Was that
the
one there?
I don't know.
if you go through the water
I'm
tunnel,
sure that the guy there can.
the water is normally about
Do you have breathing
knee
exercises?
to waist high, and
It says
if,
eight.
and I'm
There's
5'9",
an emergency exit right here, Steve.
Is
and
what? Oh, an X-ray.
Florida
thank
here is
you.
about
Perfect.
5'7",
Thanks.
and he said that he had to
I
squat
wouldn't go
down
back
in
up the
places
stairs then.
because it was so low. So just prepare for a tight squeeze, but I'll go through the wet tunnel when my wife gets here so we can do it together, so we can share. All right, see you in a minute. Okay, we're walking down the stairs. Oh, look out. Oh, these are steep. Man, these are steep. No, you know what it is? The steps are short.
We got a lot of funding from a church to come, and so we wanted to give a presentation and talk about it. And also encourage people to
Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to encourage them, give them the reasons to I'm not showing them what it is. I'm going to pick a few
Watch your
things,
head up here, guys.
even like picking a few guys on the book pad. Biblical stories that maybe they'll see differently. Just a little bit.
Wow, that is steep. Cool.
So, okay, then multiply that by 100.
still doing okay, Steven?
Yep, doing all right right now.
Watch your head.
Thank you.
Watch. Carpet monster.
Well, it's carpet, man. I don't think they had carpet back then in Hezekiah's days.
They got you.
So this is how narrow everything is. I don't know. That's a good question. So this is how narrow the Canaanite tunnel is. This is dry. Oh my gosh.
So is this something that was constructed?
I think afterwards, because there are lights in the floor.
Well, they certainly enhanced it, brought it to a level
So was this here
This is just an
during
aqueduct.
Hezekiah's time?
before.
Oh, before,
Canaan-
okay.
Canaanites.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All it did was a sideways water aqueduct.
Okay. This is narrow. Very narrow.
When you're chiseling rock, you don't want to chisel it like that.
Yeah.
You want to be able to get through.
Whew.
Yeah.
This is so narrow that I can't walk through with my backpack on. I have to walk through sideways.
Water, yeah.
You know, I don't know how I would do if water was up to my thighs right now. I know how I feel.
Oh,
Yeah, tell me about it. Okay, so where's the water coming from?
I don't even know. I'm confused on that too.
Okay, that's it?
Yep. You made it.
Woohoo, we made it.
How does that?
Okay, we are now at the Pool of Shiloh. We'll learn more about that in a few minutes.
Shiloh. What is that word come from? Shiloach. Can you say Shiloach?
Shiloh.
Shiloh.
The sent water, the pool of where the water was sent to. Okay? Mansion when Hezekiah dug the tunnel, he sent the water to a safe place, not along the Canaanite tunnel, along the Kidron, but through the city to a pool that is secure. But people are looking at now and say, wait a second, what are you talking about? The walls of the city are over there. We are outside of the walls. You are right. But we are outside of the walls of the Ottomans 500 years ago. But the walls in the time of the Crusaders, and the time of the Byzantines, and the Romans, and the time of the city of David, this is inside the city. And where the walls used to be, along the Kidron, and along the Hinnom. Okay? When the pool is here, it is secured. Okay, it's in the city wall. The Canaanite problem was that their tunnel was also to secure the water, but it was along the Kidron. It was used in a time of peace for the irrigation of their farmland. But what happened if you cut their water? So Hezekiah said, let's bring the water to the other side. More people would enjoy the water in a safe place. I'll put it in a pool, secure, and not know the people, the enemy, the Assyrians would not know where is the water. Now, later on, that pool became a big deal, especially because we had already water. And when Herod the Great, oh my God, when Herod the Great became the king, and it's something to do with the king, what happened? He was the biggest builder at the time, so he even expanded that pool. Okay, so what we see right now is the pool of Siloam in the time of the second temple. Now, when I was a kid, when I saw the video, even after 15 years ago, we saw that over there, the end of the tunnel, that's the pool of Siloam. If you see books from the 70s, 80s, 90s, that's the pool of Siloam. But in 2002, there was a problem with the sewer system on here. They bought a bobcat, fixed it, and up, they put a staircase.
His disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?
A dilemma that disciples have. What do they do with dilemma? They ask the rabbi. Okay? Because sometimes, by the way, they have arguments. So they can come and say, hey, Rabbi Hillel say, and Rabbi Shammai say this, and Rabbi Gamliel say this. What do you say about that dilemma? Why? Because that's the whole teaching of the Jews. They have a dilemma and then they argue and give different arguments about the dilemma. Okay?
Neither this man nor his parents sinned, said Jesus. But this happened so that the work of God might be displayed. As long as it is day, we must do the works of him who sent him.
Who what?
Sent.
Sent. Good.
Night is coming when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world. After saying this, he spit on the ground, made some mud with the saliva, and put it on the man's eyes.
Some suggest that, you probably heard that, mud, water, saliva, heard that, that's like creation. Like building something new. That's the restoration of the world.
Go, he told him, wash in the pool of Siloam.
So he sent him to the pool of the same water. Okay? argued.
But he himself insisted, I am the man.
Answer number one.
How then were your eyes opened?
Question number two.
They replied, the man they called Jesus made some mud and put it on my eyes.
Answer number three.
He told me to go to Siloam and wash. So I went and washed, and then I could see. Where is this man? They asked.
Question number three.
I don't know. They lost.
All right, we're going into the Holocaust Memorial, but we can't take any pictures or video in there. So this is where we are right now. The Holocaust Memorial here in Jerusalem. Also, they have a children's memorial. And you walk into this room, it's very dark, and it has pictures of 1.5 million children who were murdered during the Holocaust, who were 5 years old. 1.5 million children murdered. Not killed, but murdered by the Nazis. So that was, I think almost everyone came out of there crying, including myself. So, and it says their name, their age, and what country they were from. So, that's the entrance of the Children's Memorial there. All right, going to the bus to our next stop. Should almost be time for lunch. See ya. We are hiking up Mount Herodian. It's one of the highest points in Jerusalem. It's where King Herod lived in his palace and overlooked Jerusalem. So we're walking up here now. I'll see you in a second. Here we go. We're at the top. Whew. Herod's palace. King Herod. who killed all the babies when Jesus was born.
It's another one of his masterpieces.
Yeah.
Look at you. Yeah. You look a little light.
Whew.
All their other stuff was perfectly placed.
And that's how it looked back in the day.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it? See, here's the main tower.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Here's the main tower right there.
Looking up another 30 feet, maybe 40.
Yeah,
Pretty amazing, isn't it?
it's awesome. So, a very important note, keep in mind that this is a mountain, and Herod was able to take off the top portion of a mountain, dig down into it, that's what you're looking at right now, and make a palace. So everything above here was once the top of a pointy mountain, and he used his men and slaves to take off the top portion of a mountain, dig down in here, and have his home, his fortress, his palace. And they just found his tomb here 12 years ago. So Herod's tomb, King Herod's tomb, is down in here. You know, okay, sister?
I'm doing
Okay,
great.
good girl.
Hi to all
Oh yeah.
Jerry's people back home.
Oh, no. Oh, sorry. Have y'all gone down there yet?
Nah, he was saying no.
Oh, it's nothing down there?
He said there is something.
Oh, okay. No, you're good.
Yeah, just so big.
Stars and Bucks Cafe. Are you serious? Stars and Bucks?
Activities during Christmas. In front of you is the Church of Nativity that we're getting through it. That's the oldest church that we're gonna talk about it later according to the history of this church. Okay, so please friends follow me. Okay.
This is a church where they believe Jesus was born, or sorry, this is the area where they think Jesus was born, not the church. You gotta be accurate. You gotta be accurate. Shut up. Shut up. Just shut up.
Jesus was born in this church.
Shut up. Shut up. Leave me alone.
What did he say?
So Jesus was born in a church.
Yes.
Born in a church. Well, that makes sense.
All right.
The church was built for his birth.
Yes, the church was built for his birth.
It's baby dedication
Yes,
here.
yes,
That's
baby dedication here. Yes,
Yes,
he did. He was back christened.
It's like they knew he was coming.
Y'all are,
They were ready.
oh my gosh, look what I've been hanging up for the past 10 days.
Her husband there, he works for Apple.
So can you take care of that for me, please? Oh my God. Pretty much. We'll have to dish it out, but shit.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good
Same physical cave of birth. Just in the other side of that little wall, there's the other Orthodox part where there's a huge line to get through this. So basically, we're now in the cave that's connected to the cave of birth. Here we remember two main things: the birthplace, as in the city of Bethlehem, and when the angel of Lord appeared for Joseph, he asked him to take the kid and Mary and to fly to Egypt, because Herod the Great's going to kill all the kids under 3 years old. So that's according to this, according to the biblical story. Okay? Maybe we can wait a minute. Just give me a minute. Okay, friends, so if you please just become closer because you don't have audio whispers or something like that. That's good. Guys, we're now in the Church of Nativity. That's the oldest section, the old basilica. It was built for the first time in 325 AD. At the time of Queen Helena, the mother of the Emperor Constantine, when she built up the first octagonal church that was surrounded the cave where we used to be, which is over it. But that church was destroyed by Samaritans in 529 AD. So in 529, Samaritans, they make a revolt against Christians. It was fully destroyed, covered up with dust, until another emperor came here called Justinian. He built up this church and the existing church in 540. So from 540 till today, no one destroyed it. And that's why we're lucky to have the oldest church in the Holy Land. 612, Persians attacked the Holy Land again. And they destroyed every single church according to our history. But when they reached the Church of Nativity, they didn't touch it. And that's the only church that survived from this kind of destruction. So why do you think Persians, they didn't destroy it? What's the relation in between the Persians and the birthplace? The Magi, the three wise men. One of the three wise men is a Persian. So when they came here, they have seen a mosaic for them. They recognized their king. And according to this, they left this church. So that's why we're talking about the oldest church in the Holy Land, and it's still existing for now. Many things used to be remodeled by time, like the walling mosaics in both sides, returning back to 1162 AD, which is by the time of the Crusaders. And only 5 years ago, we discovered that it's a gold plated. Before that, it used to be too dark while the church were using oil lamps instead of electricity. So that's why it's converted everything into dark colors. So Italians, They came here in a huge project in 2013. They fixed the roof. And by the way, this roof is a donation from King Edward IV, the King of Britain, 15th century. He donated to the church. They continue down to the mosaics and then to the pillars. We have 44 Corinthian pillars in both sides. 20 of them got iconic paints by the time of the Crusaders. So we can see these kind of paints returning back to the 12th century, which is about 800 years old. The wooden door that you can see it in the back of this church is the oldest wooden door in the city of Bethlehem. It's a donation from King Khatum, King of Armenia, in 1227, which is totally hand-carved, made out of oak wood. It's about 800 years old. We couldn't get through the main door. It's a very small door from the outer side. We call it the door of humility and respect. That makes everybody bending down, getting inside the Church of Nativity. And that's the idea of reducing that size. The very beginning door used to be the same size of this door. They reduced it for like half a way as an arch, and then by the time of the Ottomans, 15th, 16th century, they make that little humble door that makes all getting down, like bending to get inside the Church of Nativity. So that's the idea of reducing that main door. We're gonna see it on our exit because it was packed, a lot of people trying to get through like one by one with this kind of little door. All the line here that you can see, it goes to the other side of the cave, which is the Orthodox part. Because in the Orthodox section, they have the Star of Bethlehem, which is a silver star. It's marked according to our Christian tradition and marked the birthplace of Jesus. So maybe we're not sure exactly about it, but according to our Christian tradition, they put the Star of Bethlehem as the accurate place where Jesus was born. It's a 14-point star. That means a 14 generation times 3, from the time of Abraham to the time of Jesus. And that's according to our biblical story, which is mentioned in Matthew chapter 1. And that's the generation of Jesus Christ, the 14th generation times 3, which is David, which is Abraham to David, David to Babylonian exile, and then till Jesus Christ. It's a 14th time until it's reached Jesus. So friends, we are now in a Byzantine church, and the layout of this church, it looks like a big cross. So that's the 4-app church. This is the way, this is the biggest way, left, right app. In the middle is the altar of Nativity. And the altar of Nativity is the Greek Orthodox one right now. So here in Bethlehem City, we have 3 main denominations. We have Greek Orthodox, we have Armenians, and we have the Catholic, where we used to be in. So that's why we got 3 Christmases per year. We got 3 Easters, 3 processions, and everything goes in between the 3. That's according to the 3 main denominations. For example, our regular Christmas in the 25th of December. 7th of January is the Greek Orthodox one, which is 3 days ago. 19th of January, which is by next week, is the Armenian one. So that's the way how it is. And according to the 3 main denominations, we got something called a status quo. It's an agreement in between the 3 that each and every one got their special time and place to pray inside the Church of Nativity and the Cave of Birth. So that's the way how it is since the last 370 years ago. It's in the same time like we have some processions, or the way how it's divided for this part of the church. The main altar that you can see part of it, which is covered with white shield, is the oldest altar here, and it was replaced in 1541 AD. They bring some carpenters back there from Turkey and they carved it in that way. 1852, the Russians, they add more donation to the church, so they added the 3 big chandeliers that you can see it in the middle, and they covered the 4 big icons with gold and silver that appears little bit below. Iconostas, it's a holy, it's a Greek language, Greek word that means the holder of the icons. It's including a lot of icons. Why they were using that much of icons a long time ago? Any idea? It's kind of for praying, but it's more for teaching. Nowadays we can read and write, so we can read and understand what the Bible is talking about. But before, back then, priests, they can tell a story according using that kind of holy or biblical images, according to the biblical stories. So that's why they were using that kind of holy icons. So that's this section exactly according to the divisions and according to the status quo. It's controlled since that time with the Greek Orthodox Church. Okay, friends, any question about the old basilica here? We good?
This is a mosaic from Queen who? Queen Helena. They just found it a couple years ago under the church here. So that mosaic that we just saw dates back to 323 BC. What is that, BC or AD?
80.
80, I'm sorry, 80. 323 AD. So it's pretty awesome. We're leaving the inner church now, and those people are waiting in line so they can see the possible birthplace of Jesus. This is the main entrance of the church. It's called the door of humiliation. You have to bend over and then step over to enter the house of God.
Yeah, Gerhard, stand next to that so I can see how.
Wow. Jerry, how old are you? What, 6'2"?
6'4".
6'4"?
Yes, I was. Maybe I shrunk.
So,
On my back.
I'm gonna walk through real quick, guys. So you have to come under here and then step over this to walk in. The same thing with that door too. You have to step up and then go under. When you go out, you step up here, step up here, and then go under here.
Turn around there, Dave. There you go. Look at that. There it is. Yes.
Hoop.